All right, today is May 5th, and the NBA Round 2 has officially been released. Disclaimer, as of recording this, there has been one official game 1 of Round 2. One has officially commenced, which would be the Indiana Pacers and Cleveland Cavaliers. I will not let that game affect my biasy. My prediction was already preset when the matchups were determined. So I will not let that first game interfere with any analysis I have for this video. I will save all that for around the game 1 videos. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started with the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Denver Nuggets. Let's go ahead and start there. All right. So first on the slate is Oklahoma City versus Denver, and while so in my original in round 1, I said that whoever took on Oklahoma City in round 1 would be no match for them, and it was true. They moved on in quite dominant fashion, just moving on into the first round pretty effectively. So Oklahoma City, they did everything that they needed to do. Now they're facing a former champion in Denver, which I think is they're gonna have their work cut out for them. Oklahoma City is the favorite coming out of the West. I'm gonna continue to repeat that for a reason. They're pretty dominant. They have a pretty deep bench, and they have Shea Gilgeous, MVP caliber guy. They got some great wing guys, Aaron Wiggins. They got Lou Dort. They got some guy Caruso coming off the bench. Hartenstein. We haven't even said Holmgren yet. Like, they have a deep team that they can be looking at championship runs for the next 3 years minimum. As long as no one gets hurt, contract disputes, blah blah blah. 3 years, their window of time to win is right now. I'm gonna go with Oklahoma City in 7. Honestly, I think Denver's great. I think that they barely snuck past the Clippers. I had the Clippers in 7, but it obviously went to Denver. And I just think that the Nuggets are not deep. I think the bench will have a role. I mean, there's some factors that play into Denver's favor, and there's some factors that play in Oklahoma City's favor. Like I said, Oklahoma City has the bench and depth advantage here, where they don't have to run their superstars 45 minutes a night to have some type of feel to win the game. In Denver, they just have some great, like those. Jokic is Chet is not going to be able to stop Jokic. I said stop. Jokic is like one of those players that you just have to account for him having 15, 20, 25 points because he's just so crafty and he's just so knowledgeable about basketball. So he's going to score 40. Not score 40. He's going to score 25, 10 rebounds. I see him averaging that for the series. I think the stars of each team is going to come down to them. We're going to see some big plays. We're going to see some buzzer beaters. We're going to see some step back game winners. We're going to see a lot of that. I think the stars really come to shine in this series, and we'll take a look and see how it goes. But I'm taking Oklahoma City in 7. I think they have enough depth to push through and fight through Denver. Denver will give them a hard time, but I'm taking Thunder in 7. All right. So after Thunder Nuggets, let's jump over to Cavs Pacers. My original prediction for the Cavs Pacers was the Cavs are going to get pushed to 6, 7. And the reason I said that is because I think their mentality is a little fucked up. Not because of anything, but, they just came off that sweep of the Miami Heat, they had to belt the ass them real fast. But I was speaking to some colleagues about this, and the last 2 games of the regular season, the Pacers did beat the Cavs back-to-back times. I heard some excuse about, but the Cavs are resting their starters. It was a fluke. Blah blah blah. All right, we'll see how it goes. I'll leave game 1 out of this. Like I said, I won't get into too much of that because it's just not for this video. I'll save it for the next video when we talk about the game 1s. But in terms of matchups and stuff, Cleveland is good. My thing is, I think they just play really well in terms of coaching and schemes, and like their players know their roles. they're not unbeatable. You know, that's the same thing I feel about the Boston Celtics, and we'll get to that in a second. But they're not unbeatable. These guys are not unbeatable. You know what I mean? So I'm taking Indian. I'm not Indian. I'm taking Cleveland in 6 or 7 because they have the depth. Donovan Mitchell is good. 3-point shooting is definitely going to be a factor in this series. I think they're just matched up really well. Indiana is actually, I think, really underrated as a team. I know in the previous seasons they weren't. They were a little bit too raw, but this year they look pretty good. So, I still take Cleveland. You know, their roster is pretty well built like that Cleveland team over there. So, we'll just see what happens. I'm gonna go with Cleveland in 6 or 7 though. That's my prediction. All right, now we're jumping in back over to the West, and we're gonna go into the Minnesota Timberwolves 6-7 seed. This is where things get tricky for me because I believe the Warriors can beat the Timberwolves. I think they have the depth for it. It's just about can they go on a run to do it? Anthony Edwards can show that he might be on a run to knock the Warriors out. He's on a run right now, and we gotta give our credit where it's due. The Timberwolves were in the conference finals the year before. I've seen them live. I think I said that already, but they look decent. They look beatable like any other team, but Anthony Edwards is really that guy. With that being said, Steph Curry and that Draymond, they're a 4-time championship pedigree team. Steve Kerr 10-time championship. As I think we've gone over this. We've seen what happened, and it's gonna be tough. I'm gonna have to go with Golden State in 7. I say that because I just feel like it's just the run that they're on, and the Lakers. The Timberwolves had the very, very clear advantage of like size and rebounding has been a problem for the Warriors, especially if you looked at that Rockets game where they were letting them get like 40 to 50 rebounds a night. But I think the shooting of the Warriors is gonna test the Timberwolves. The Lakers didn't really have the best spread. They couldn't really spread the floor like that because you had LeBron, Luka. Those were your main hitters, but Rui Hashimura from the corner for threes. But other than that, where were the threes really coming from? They didn't really have an offense like that. So let's see how the Warriors and Timberwolves face off. I mean, they played in the regular season. I'm not sure if they split their series or not. I will definitely research that to see because that will play a factor in in anything that they got going on. Okay, so at the end of January they won by 1, and let's see all the games they played. See 2025. That's strange. Anyway, I'll find out later. We can even confirm. In fact, actually, what I will do, I don't think it really matters. We'll follow up if anything. We'll find out who won the season series, and all that. But Timberwolves have a deep team. I think the point guard position is definitely in the Warriors' favor. Mike Conley versus Steph. You know what? In fact, I'm going on record. They're not even going to let Mike Conley guard him. You're going to see Anthony Edwards or another wing guy. They're going to be picking up Steph Curry, not Mike Conley. So we'll go ahead and see. I have the Warriors in 7. I would have had them in 6 if they beat the Rockets sooner than Game 7. But now that they have a little bit of not playing on their side, now they have to jump right back in on Tuesday after playing on Sunday. They're going to be a little bit tired. So we'll see. And yeah, I'm going Golden State in 7. I think they can make it on to the next round, and it'll be a conference finals for the ages. So that's my take there. And we're gonna end it off with the New York Knicks versus Boston Celtics. And I I have a mixed opinion. I don't think I'm gonna go with the popular opinion. Oh, Celtics are gonna. No. I think New York has their work cut out for them. But this is a series that if they win, they could see a finals. Like, and I think New York is like one of those teams in the. There's a dark horse for me in the Eastern Conference right now because they made it past their series, but I think the other series that we watched showed that a lot of these other teams are not like unbeatable. They're not like they're not gonna just like I don't know how else to describe it. They're not gonna just like be pummeling people and shit. Like Boston's beatable. Like they beat Boston in four, but some of those games were pretty close. And like I said, the Knicks don't have the same defense as the Magic, and they don't have the same offense. Their defense might not be as good, but their offense is way better. So I think they'll give Boston a harder time. I don't see Boston coming in every game shooting 45-50% from the field, being hot, like unguardable. I don't see that occurring. So I'm going with this one's gonna be tough, but I'm gonna go with Boston in 7 because I think the Knicks could push them to the brink, and I'll put in a little asterisk there. I think that if the Knicks can steal at least one game at home from the Celtics in the first 2 games, I think the Knicks have a chance to make it to the conference finals. But my official pick is I'm taking the Boston Celtics in 6 or 7. But I think the New York Knicks will give the Celtics a hard time. I do not think that they will make their potential title run any easier. I don't think they'll do it. It's just not in that for them. So those are my picks for round 2. Again, we're in store for some great basketball. We have some good teams. We have some good matchups. And round 2, I'm really excited. But those are my picks for the round 2. And that's our little talk about what we see going into round 2. I want to thank you guys so much for joining the wave. And I will see you guys next time. I'll see you guys on the Game 1 videos. Peace out. Ciao. I'll see you later.